guys, happy to be here. Happy to be with you on this webinar. And if there's one thing I want to talk about today, is I want to break the misconception that during this particular time or season in society in the world that you can just get by, that you can just survive. The reality is there are a lot of opportunities that will allow for you, your businesses, and you as individuals to really thrive. And that's what we'll tackle today. I'll talk about three key opportunities that we need to take a look at as a business and as an individual, given the current situation that we're in. So hopefully, your key takeaway after this short segment is you know what to do. You know what are the opportunities to spot, and you can already get going. So the first thing that I want to stress is that e-commerce and e-payments are growing dramatically. We've seen from different companies say that they're like 200%, 300%, 400% increase in adoption of e-payments and e-commerce and e-shopping. So the big question you need to ask yourself first as a business is, can you shift to digital? Can you shift to e-commerce? If you are an individual and not necessarily like a business or an SME, or you're an employee and you're looking for a side hustle or a side business, the question you need to ask yourself is, can you get into e-commerce? Can you get into online selling? Now, the misconception is that it is so hard to get into e-commerce, that the barriers are incredibly high. But there are players in the marketplace that have made it much more easier to be able to penetrate the space. Of course, we're taking a look at platforms such as Lazada, Shopee, Shopify, and a bunch of other e-commerce platforms that you guys might want to consider if you want to put up your own e-commerce or online business. Now, if you are a large enterprise and you are looking at e-commerce as a possible space, two things you need to take a look at. Number one, obviously, building your own capabilities in your own platform. And number two, establishing Trade 2.0. Kung trade mo dati is basically your sari-sari stores or your groceries, Trade 2.0 is managing your network across all the online distribution marketplaces such as Lazada, Shopee, and the like. So it's like a new way of taking a look at sales. Whereas before, it was all of your agents, it's all of your initial networks. Now it's really all the different online platforms that have sizable audiences already. Now you're probably thinking, how can I mobilize if I don't have talent in my company for that, or if I don't know a lot of digital skills? Here's the key. The digital like economy, or digital is not a skill set. Digital is like the time that we're living in today. And it's open for everybody regardless of your age. Now, if you're not an expert, for example, in design, SEO, e-commerce, the web development, but you are, for example, I don't know, maybe in your 40s or late 30s or maybe even in your 50s, but you already have the resources, you have the capital, you have the network, then just hire the experts and just hire the people to get the job done. You don't have to do everything yourself. Right? The key is knowing what needs to get done and being able to build teams to accomplish what they're doing. So again, let me just stress that digital is the new normal, it's the new business, it's the new economy, and it's open for everybody regardless of it. So the first point, e-commerce, payments going up the roof. The second point that I want to stress, and this is something that really excites me, and I hope those who do digital marketing, you guys get excited as well. Online advertising is market driven. That means that if there's a high supply, it means a lot of people online, but low demand, which means only a few advertisers willing to spend, the prices of advertising on platforms such as Facebook and Google go down. And that's the current situation. Online advertising today, in the last 2 months, has been the lowest I have ever seen in my entire career in digital. If you want to place ads on Facebook, if you want to place ads on YouTube or Google or whatever, the costs for placing those ads right now are at an all-time low. What does this mean? This means that your customer acquisition cost today is at its lowest online. So if you actually have the e-commerce platform, if you actually have the online conversion capabilities, now is the time wherein you should be spending. Now is the time where you should be hitting the marketplace and getting people to try out your app, to download your app, to make their first purchase, to sign up to whatever it is that you build. Because customer acquisition, especially from a consumer standpoint, again, I think we're targeting mass audiences, is at its absolute lowest. In fact, that's the reason why, personally, I'm dabbling a lot now into e-commerce and side hustles in that space, because it's just so much cheaper now to be able to go out to the market and to build communities and to build businesses. So if you are fortunate, if you are lucky to have capital, if you have the money to spend to be able to grow your business or SME, now is the time to do so. Guys, you need to step on the gas and accelerate. You need to learn now, make your mistakes because the price of learning is at its lowest. Because when prices go up, then obviously it will be more expensive to make those mistakes, and it will be more expensive to acquire your customers. So if you have that unique opportunity, if you have that window today, you should be doing that. And the third point I'd like to stress is that digital is like a rabbit hole. There are lots of twists, a lot of turns. Sometimes you just fall into a tunnel and you don't know what you can find. Then that's the nature of the beast. Because if you take a look at digital, there's so many things that you can do. I barely scratched the surface when I talked about e-commerce, e-payments, as well as online advertising and customer acquisition costs. I haven't even gone into chatbots, email marketing, cracking influencer marketing, building your own affiliate marketing system, and there's just so much more being able to take advantage of artificial intelligence and machine learning. I mean, you're really just limited by your imagination and your capability when it comes to what you can do on digital. The value that you can unlock by automating a lot of things is immense in terms of savings and efficiencies for the companies that you run or for the companies that you guys will build. The reality is ad tech is advancing so much faster than the capabilities of marketers and entrepreneurs. So the opportunity there is for you and for me and for everybody watching today is that if you take the pains of building your digital muscle now, if you take the pains of putting in the work, making the mistakes, learning, checking out all the different applications and all the different platforms that you can take advantage of, you will be well positioned to succeed in the digital age. Because ultimately, survival is not an option. If you're the type of person who wants to thrive, if you're the type of person that really wants to provide a good life, not just for yourself, but for your family and your employees, then it's the best time to really take a look at digital and technology.